It feels a lot like your soul is very peaceful. It's come here to experience a lot of peace. You're supposed to find peace even in the chaos. There are mirroring things in this life from that past life that you've come to heal with this person.
You're strong. I mean, you can even, like pull yourself up without even having your feet touch anything.
I find that even in your current life right now, it's still important for you to use your voice.
What I'm getting is that you want a love that you can contribute to. You're asking for like platinum, so you can't accept the copper when it shows up, even though it's pretty too.
You are being pushed outside your comfort zone to seek new heights.
And you are true to yourself and you're true to others around you as you live your authentic life. You are just you, and that is all you need to open up. We need you to speak your truth, Katrina.
All right, so we are back with the third episode of, me like watching my tarot reading and like providing just commentary. This has been such a fucking wild ride, and honestly, this has been so therapeutic. Like the last episode, as I was wrapping up, I was like, damn, it's been so cool being able to implement some of these things and just like do the work and not have questions, because man, sometimes things in my life will baffle me, and I feel like that's like been the beauty of this reading, because there's just things, and I get a lot of messages. It was funny, I arrogantly, when I booked the reading, was like, I'm pretty in tune, do I really need this? Like, they can just tell me, but like to hear it from someone else's perspective. And if you'll notice, he goes over the things a couple different times and in a couple different ways, because one thing I feel like Spirit knows that, with me specifically, that I'll re-listen to readings. And the reason why is because different things will resonate at different times. It's like I'll get different downloads, like different information each time I listen to it. So do we check our messages? I'm shaking. I'm so happy. Oh, my ex-husband just got engaged, and man, the woman that he's with now is just perfect for him. And I'm like, so happy. We just saw it on Instagram, and I was sending it to my daughter. She's like, I'm so happy. She looks so slay. Anyway, this is not relevant. Literally. How do you spell literally? Thank you, spell check. Fuck. Okay. Pressing on then.
To put it simply, the journey you're on, it's been quite a lonely one, but I honestly feel like you don't mind that to some extent when it comes to the more platonic side. You're very comfortable with yourself. Death, yeah. Yeah, of course, yeah. Oh, confirmation again. So, to summarise, my love, you're going through a death and rebirth. You're walking away from essentially everything you've built, not permanently, but more so the emotional commitment towards it. And like you said, you feel burnt out, etc., etc. And that's giving you the opportunity to start a new passion, right? But what is that passion? Well, truth be told, only you know, and that's why you need to come out your comfort zone with full faith, because you are the magician, with full faith that it will work out and everything will succeed. And then we have the Queen of Wands. Beauty. Calm, gentle, caring, powerful, authoritarian, connected spiritually with the Black Cat. That balance. Oh yeah. I know you're quite a spiritual person right now, my love, but quote me on this, quote me on everything, but you're about to become way, way more spiritually inclined. We've got the Ten of Swords. So we talked about how you paint and shape, etc., etc. Five of Pentacles. The Chariot in reverse. Two of Wands. The Hangman. Ten of Pentacles in reverse. And the King of Pentacles in reverse. Lush. Okay. So.
I just love him for saying lush. Like, some of like his ad-libs just give me life.
It is. You kind of remind me of an onion. You've got this layer of...
Also, I put I'm feeling like super self-conscious right now because I put this fucking lipstick on. I live in the mountains. It's fucking freezing and the air is super dry and I couldn't find my chapstick, so I literally just threw some lipstick on because it's keeping my lip moist. Like, I don't usually wear lipstick.
Confidence within yourself, but then on a deeper level,
as he talks about confidence,
lack of confidence, which we talked about already. So again, relationship with finances and money. Don't chase wealth, money, status, but chase your dreams, your passions. And honestly, my love, see where you're at right now as a blessing, because like I said, you've got a clean slate in front of you and you can honestly take it in whatever direction you want. And with the whole spending thing, it really just comes down to self-discipline. King of Wands in reverse. Three of Pentacles in reverse. Ace of Cups, that came out in reverse. Four of Pentacles and the Two of Pentacles. And then, when it comes to you as a business owner, truly the what would you call it? The environment of working in the wedding industry business, draining, corrupting comes to mind. It's a very almost toxic environment, you know. And there's actually something here about personal experiences within this environment that comes to me. Like you've had bad personal experiences with clients or something like that. But anyway, you're at a point now where you're stable, etc., etc. But the emotional fulfillment is gone. And now you're in this position of questioning what's next, right?
Yeah. So as much as I love, you know, what I do, well, I loved what I do. There has definitely been some instances, you know, with my comment. Like I've been like, I fucking hate the beaches now. Like, because I've been on the beach, you know, working longer than I should have just to be screamed at by a bride who paid me not enough to be acting like she owned me. And there's just been like just shitty situations where like, I've had some bad, like people, like we had this one bride who was like, I'll have my whole family put bad reviews if you don't refund this. And I just like really shitty fucking people that like I've worked with a lot of really amazing couples, but like there's definitely been some experiences where I'm like, fuck you. And I've had a past life in India where I tried to, you know, start my own businesses and I ended up being taken advantage of. And in this life, I do not play that shit. You want to post a bunch of bad reviews and try to blackmail me into giving you money that you're not entitled to, sis, I will shut my fucking business down before I get punked by somebody that's just trying to like bully me. I do not do, don't fucking bully me, man. I just, not in this lifetime. I ain't playing that shit. But yeah, I'm over it.
And you're ready to follow a more soul-fulfilling path. King of Swords crossed. The Hermit in reverse and Temperance, yeah. And going back to that person from the past, whoever this person is, they could have been the catalyst for one of your biggest spiritual awakenings, but you've grown so much since this person, it feels like.
Yeah, so the person that he's talking about is actually the narcissist that I did the episode with Nada. He introduced me to a lot of he introduced me to a lot of spiritual concepts that I wasn't able to grow into until he was out of my life. We'll just say that. And he brought into my awareness the gifts that I had. Like, he would always be like, you're a fucking witch. And I'd be like, what the fuck, man? Like, come on. Is this what white guys say to girls? Like, I'm gonna fuck you regardless. Like, this is weird. I remember being so weirded out by, like, him and the spiritual shit. But on a long enough timeline, everything that he ended up saying actually was right. So.
But it feels like you've kind of, which, I don't know if this is a bad thing, but it feels like you've kind of became addicted to, it kind of feels like you've become addicted to growth, you know what I mean? Anyway, and you've just been in this energy of almost isolation, right?
Yeah, I don't know that that resulted from him. I've always been like that. Before he even came into my life, you know, I used to watch the Oprah Super Soul Sundays and I would read Deepak Chopra books, and I was very open to a lot of the things that I now know to be true, but like, it was just open to me. Like, then it was like a theory, you know what I mean? Like, everything was like a theory. Like, oh, some people believe this. Like, when my kids would ask me about the afterlife, like, what happens when you, I don't fucking know. Here's what some people believe. Here's what other people believe. I personally believe we shouldn't worry about it, because guess what? We're all going to find out. There's no need to like invest our energy into that. But it became very real for me once he was out of my life and I was able to, he wasn't draining my fucking energy, and I was able to implement a lot of the things that I learned, and I was able to practice some of the things that I learned, and just like really just get more in tune with myself. And I do like being alone. It's interesting. Like, I would say my marriage to my ex-husband was amazing in that uh, I could be with him and feel alone. And that sounds bad, but what I mean is like, there was no, how sometimes you're with someone and there's this energy of like need or expectation, or like, it wasn't like that with him. Like, I was able to just kind of be, at peace within my own energy, with him. Like, nothing else, not nothing else, but that's probably one of the only like good things about, my marriage with him. I was able to build, my businesses when I was with him, because like he grounded me, and in a way that didn't require a lot of, it was like a detached, I don't know, like a deep friendship, honestly. Like, really good roommates.
Yeah, Two of Cups in reverse. This connection is very disharmonious. Seven of Wands in reverse. The Five of Cups and the Moon in reverse. And that brings me to it, my love. That brings us to this. So, another piece of advice is to erect boundaries between yourself and this person. More so the disappointment of it, more so how it ended, and this feeling of, do you know what? He feels like a prick, I'm not gonna lie. Something about his energy. It feels like kind of mentally, I want to say manipulative or maybe abusive, but I'm just getting this energy here of you were just so much higher in terms of, I guess, awareness and power and authority.
Yeah. So the dynamic with him, it 100% was like a lot of emotional abuse, a lot of emotional manipulation. He liked to play people against one another. He was really good at like reading what I would tolerate and what I wouldn't tolerate. He would like berate me about things that I didn't even give a fuck about. Like, very, very, very just pure toxicity. Like, you couldn't be with him and be in a state of peace. It was interesting. I was very drawn to him, and I felt like, he was the one for me, but it wasn't that. It was like, because I have the ability to feel, people at their core. It was like I could see all the good in him, but there was so much layers of just tar, thick, just poison all over him, just with of his own pain, and he would bleed all over everyone, and everything was like this. He was just really shitty. It was like really, really, really shitty. Honestly, like, I remember thinking, like, having this dichotomy of like, I can't live without him. But then when the final fucking straw, when he lied about Nada in a very lightweight way, like he lied in such a lightweight way that like, if I would have had any idea of what was actually going on, like, oh my God, I was so done. I was like, oh hell no. And I remember going home like, oh, I feel peace. I feel peace. I thought I would be destroyed, and I feel I slept so goddamn good. But him talking about erecting boundaries between the disappointment, like when Nada did come back into my life and I found out how much of a fucking piece of shit he was, I was like, oh my God, I felt disgusted with myself. I was like, I gave him like, I felt like I should have never fucked him at all. Like, ill. Like, how, I don't know, it's like finding out somebody's a fucking pedophile, or somebody's just the fucking scum of the earth. And oh, I can't believe I gave you anything. I can't believe I spent my money on you. I can't believe I took you on trips. I can't believe I fucking like had sex, like just any of that. It was just like complete disgust, and I did not allow myself to feel any disappointment over him not being in my life, because the level of "are you fucking serious" was just like So after this reading, I actually spent, like I mentioned in another episode, I spent weeks like crying about, I don't know if I mentioned another episode, I might have did a TikTok about it, but I spent a few weeks and I was literally crying about not him, because he was a fucking illusion, but I was crying over the loss that I felt over the version of him that I saw and perceived and that I thought I was connecting with, because it wasn't him at all. And if we look at the actual him, there's nothing to fucking cry about. But what the goodness in him that I saw him to be and that I perceived in him, and the healed version of him that I was able to perceive. Yeah, like when some of the stories that women told me, you guys, like, because Nate and I did a podcast episode and we had like women come forward and like talk about their experience. And he told me at bits and pieces. So I knew that what these women were telling me was fucking true. But the fucking level of depravity and grossness, I thought about killing him a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I thought about killing him so fucking much. Like, if he ended up dead, I'd probably go to the police department and be like, hey, you should question me. I didn't do it. But I should probably be number one on your list. And to the point to where my soul literally allowed me to have a dream where I killed him in the astral realm. And then I was able to channel his spirit and literally feel like the purity of his soul, and without all the toxicity and the damage of the who he was in this life or whatever, which was super healing for me, because that, like, I needed that. I needed to be able to murder him. I beat him to death with a 2x4 in my dream. It's wonderful. But then when I channeled him, I just remember feeling just all this like love and like pain and just purity, just fucking purity in a way that he doesn't have the capacity. When the last time I was in his life, I don't know what the fuck he's got going on now. Also, I want to say how he said he feels like a prick. I was feeling that. I mentioned that in another episode where in the weeks leading up to this thing, I could feel him like thinking about emails that he'd sent me pretending to be Nada. And then just feeling like a fucking idiot, like just disgusted with himself, because he is making progress. At least that's what it feels like on a soul level. But I'm not connected with him, and I have no fucking desire to ever speak to that man again. I'll see you on the other side, and we can high five and chest bump. But in this one, you cross way too many fucking lines, and so it's just like, yeah, no. But I had to allow myself, to feel like that loss, because I actually consider him my first true love, like the first person who actually saw me, and just like, woo. But he saw me and he manipulated me, and so that's not beautiful.
I digress.
And
that would tie into your relationship with money, because when you've opened up and tried to experience a connection with someone, they've misused you, they've taken you for granted, which would lead to this indulgence into the financial side of life. And just something else to work on. I am picking up on instances of imposter syndrome, which is basically where, on a deeper level, there's doubt surrounding your ability to achieve this new goal. Maybe with the movement, but we have the world, so you will be moving, my love. I'd say, honestly, that's probably one of the biggest things burning you out, like where to go, what do you do, kind of thing. But we have the Magician. And that brings us to this, my love. A new chapter is forming. In order to embrace it, then it's time to embrace new, release old. This includes everything we've talked about. I feel like I'm just repeating the same message, just with different words. But anyway, yeah. A new chapter is forming, my love, and there are certain things to work on, certain relationships that need to be tweaked. Certain dependencies, I guess you could say. But this is already happening. Like, there's no going back now. You just need to be more focused on internal growth than anything else, and embracing new passions. Yeah, because going back to this, the passion that your spirit team want you to pursue, try, my love. It's not going to be one clear answer. Like, you've got to try, Ooh, and as we're finishing...
Yeah, so I definitely feel that. I honestly feel like I can do any fucking thing. Like, honestly, it's like I can just step into literally anything and I'll be successful at it. I just got to pick one thing, that really, really, really like resonates with me. And honestly, the thing that was coming to mind as he was talking. Like, I know, with human design, my throat chakra is defined. I have a lot of energy. When I get around people who are more reserved, they feel bolder around me. They can like, utilize my energy to become more of, what they're not. And I don't know, man, I feel like I make my greatest impacts just talking to people, just saying words. And it's funny, like sometimes I'll say stuff. For example, I was getting a massage the other day, and my massage therapist, he's doing his thing. And he's like, one of the other reasons why I really, have been apprehensive about having kids is because this world is just so primitive. He was like, it's just heavy, and you know. And I said to him, and I was like, so like the first 3 or 4 words was like me, and then like I just trailed off. And it's funny, like as I channel, it's like I'm not even there. Like I'm moving my mouth, but I don't really have any control of what's coming out. It's like a printer spooling, right? And so I was like, yeah, you know, that's why you came here though, because you have that awareness, and you just having that awareness, it emanates from your being. And by you emanating that energy, I was like, it allows for other people to feel into that energy and to connect with that energy. I was like, you don't even have to you don't have to shout it from the mountaintops. You don't have to do anything. You can be up here in the fucking mountains and never fucking speak a word about it. But you having that awareness is adding to the collective. And the more people that have that awareness, the more of us who are going to step into like a more peaceful and aligned and evolved society, you know? So, but these things, like he was like, well, that was like, okay, you know, he didn't see that, you know, he was like, dang, that was really well said, whatever. So like that's like my gift. It's literally just running my mouth. And I was even talking to Nada about it. She's like, you know, I see you like traveling and doing podcasts and like just talking to people. And I've even been thinking about that with my podcast. Like, man, I would love to have people on, because it's kind of weird just talking to myself, you know, unless I really like I'm really vibing with this because I'm responding to his energy. But like when I do podcasts, when it's just me, it just feels like, nah. Where if I connect with someone, because I can feel their energy so intrinsically, and because I have the ability to communicate with people in a way that is really unique to them and in a way that they will receive, you know what I'm saying? I feel like, you know, having people on my podcast in some way, shape, or form is something that I need to do. And I also envision it a lot when I talk to different people. I'm like, I would love to have this conversation with you on my podcast. Or sometimes like even just casual shit. I can be like talking to a dude, and I was talking to this dude recently about confidence and stuff. You know, he was like, well, I'm working on this. He kept saying sorry, you know, oh, I'm gonna do this, sorry. And I'm like, bruh, I'm gonna need you to stop saying you're sorry. You know, it's like, yeah, I'm working on it. Like, no, you don't have anything to work on. Just accept yourself. You know, you're perfect just as you are. Just be yourself. I said, from now on, when you're in my presence, every time you want to say sorry, I want you to say you're welcome. I said, because you need to understand that you sharing your energy with people is an honor for them, and it should be an honor for you. And we should be, you know, express like gratitude, you know, instead of apologizing. Like, and it was funny. He did it too. Like, he's like, sorry, you're welcome. And I was like, so anyway, yeah.
With the Taro, the time is 14:04, so 4:04. Ask yourself with advice as to what this passion is, or whatever this new beginning should be. What makes you feel at one with yourself? What makes you feel like you're utilizing everything you've got? What makes you feel like you're the empress? What makes you feel aligned and like, oh my god, I love this kind of thing, right? And then there's just this, why is this only just came out? Maybe it's because we've gotten deeper, but there is just this underlying layer of anxiety. You definitely miss someone, I'm gonna be real, but you know that you shouldn't miss them. It's interesting. Whoever this person was, definitely, my love. There are certain emotions here in regards to someone from the past. Sorry, cut me off. There are certain emotions here in regards to someone from the past that are definitely being controlled or suppressed. And this really needs to be reflected upon, because it bleeds into other areas. It causes you to be overly cautious with your energy, causing you to possibly deny yourself and others your true essence, which is causing you to seek a sense of comfort within material validation, which is leading to this overspending. You know, it's layered kind of thing.
Yeah, so he's talking about the narcissist, and it's because there were like times where we would have deep penetrative conversations that were like really beautiful. You know, there was like a lot of beauty in that relationship, but it wasn't real. And so see how I keep trying to jump into that. So my perception at the time was that it was this like beautiful thing. And, you know, there were different ways that he'd show up for me, like, and that I would show up for him. And it was like we were creating this relationship that was very intentional and that was very like loving and whatever, but it wasn't though. It was really actually like emotionally manipulative. I thought that's what we were doing, but he was just digging his feet, you know, his fucking claws into the trenches or whatever the fuck, you know? And so I miss the energy of that relationship, and I miss the dreams that we had, but I don't miss him because that wasn't fucking real, you know? And so that's why it's like the energy of like, yeah, you miss something, but you also know you shouldn't, because there's nothing to fucking miss. Like when somebody's like completely inauthentic with you and you find that out like on the tail end, it's like, holy shit. And then also when I started seeing, the guy I was seeing recently, I remembered like, because I was seeing him when I found out that this guy was a fucking just a hot air balloon, you know? And I remember like asking him, I'm like, do you do steroids? Like, do you take dick pills? Do you like, are you authentic? Like, I remember just feeling like so like, oh my God, I should not fall in love with anybody. I clearly do not choose, you know, good people to love. Like, oh my God. And it was just like, yeah, he's right. There just came this like overabundance of caution and anxiety. Oh my goodness. I would be so like, I remember I got a reading about the dude I was seeing last because I was like, what the fuck? I was like, is he doing this? Is he like, does he have like 80 different women that he's telling that he's going to get pregnant and like give them all the same baby names and marry them? And like, is this guy a fucking, and she was like, I got the reading with you. She was like, no, she was like, this guy, she was like, he doesn't have the energy. He can get women without even fucking trying. He does not have the energy of like being a fucking creep and being on, you know, like the other guy was. Like, it wasn't his lifestyle. He, you know, he had a fucking job, you know, he wasn't sitting there like taking money from single mothers and shit, you know. So that, but I didn't trust myself anymore. I was like, oh my God, like I feel this energy with him. How do I know if I'm right, you know? And it just like, it really, I took a big hit to my confidence, my ability to read people, you know. I mean, I know I'm an optimist, but fuck, man, like finding out what that dude was like, Jesus, man. So yeah, I definitely resonated with all of that.
I can't see what this last card is. No. Definitely. I'm hearing let go of the need to be right. Oh.
Huh. Yeah. So this, I feel like, ties back into the whole narrative of me being like, you know, choosing not to allow myself to feel certain emotions because my pride, my ego. You're a piece of shit. So my ego says we don't cry over pieces of shit, right? And so it's principled. I have these little principles, right? But now it's like coming to the realization that that my principles have actually built a cage around me, and I'm no longer free. Because now I'm existing in this box of principles, this need to be right, this need, these fundamental, you know, truths. Like, okay, he's a piece of shit. We don't cry over that. We're not sad about that. Fuck, dude. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so now we're going to completely cut off the side of ourselves that was, you know, enjoyed being in her feminine energy and enjoyed like certain dynamics of that relationship and experienced the loss of that dynamic and just having that energy in my life, because he did hold frame for me in a lot of ways to be a version of myself that I had not gotten to be until he came into my life. But then just to find out that everything was just fake, it was like, ugh. And so, yeah, I literally just put myself in a fucking cage without even realizing it. I thought I was honoring myself, right? I thought I was like, no, he doesn't fucking just like, but it's not about him. Who gives a fuck about any of that? What matters is my heart. What matters is how I feel. What matters is what I believed, what I perceived, you know, the stories that I told myself, the dreams that I had, and the fact that they all fucking died. And I had to like allow myself to feel that fucking pain. And if you don't, then you just carry that shit into the next, you know, ordeal. And you're sitting around, you know, you become the bag lady, you know. It's funny, like spirit will communicate with me with through songs sometimes. I'll definitely get the bag lady song every once in a while, Erykah Badu, Bag Lady. And then there's another song by some reggae artist, but he talks about travel light. You know, the whole song is like, you know, just keep shit light, like let shit go, like feel things and release them, which can be a really difficult concept if you've never practiced doing it. If like, because I have been the queen of like, go through trauma, suppress it, move on. I don't have time for that shit. Go through trauma. It didn't happen to my sisters. Cool, we're good. Doesn't matter. Go through trauma. Hey, my kids aren't getting fucked up, so who gives a fuck? I don't matter. Like just completely like disregarding myself, right? And like destroying myself, and then like allowing that to like bleed out into the other areas. But hey, I'm still cute, so nobody notices. You know, everybody thinks that I'm confident and I got all this whatever type energy, you know, I call BDE, even though I've got a dick, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm actually like so much more, and no one's going to be able to get to know that. Like he said, you can't love someone until you love yourself. So unless I allow those parts of me to show up in my experience and like acknowledge those parts of me, like how the fuck am I going to share that shit with somebody else? You know, if I'm too busy being Miss fucking hard nose and shit, like, yeah.
if money wasn't a thing, who would you be then? You know, like, because you've got so much intelligence, my love, you can't afford to waste it, right? But definitely, you need to embrace your pain here, fully integrate it, draw strength from it, of course, but understand that when a tree loses its branch, it grows around it. It doesn't stop it from growing, it keeps growing up, right? Don't allow your past to consistently influence your present.
Bro, when he said that, so I live in the mountains, and there is a tree on the lot where I live that is massive. It's got to be probably 1,000 years old. This is a extremely girthy tree. And I was walking Monty out there, and I remember looking at this tree, and as you look up this tree, like the branches are all fucked up, and you know, they've been through some shit. They're like all jagged, and you know, some of them look burned, and aren't there's no leaves growing from them. But further up, there's life, you know. And I remember the tree was like telling me like the energy, you know, for me anyway, trees don't like say words, but like the energy is just like, look at me. Like, I've been doing this a long time and I'm still serving my purpose. I'm still serving my purpose. I've been through a lot of shit. I've seen a lot of shit, and I'm still serving my purpose. You can too, you know? And I thought that was beautiful. Who would you be if money weren't a thing? That was kind of fucked me up, because I say that to people, but I never really considered what that would look like for me, which is interesting. And I'm still not sure.
And there is a need to definitely incorporate more spiritual energy into your life. Okay. I am also moving on to the oracles now. I am also getting the vibe of just like a complete lack of awareness from the person from your past. Just like, I don't know, it might not even be romantic, but whoever this divine masculine was, it's just like almost a how could you kind of vibe, you know? But anyway, moving on.
Yeah, so that was interesting in layers, because like I feel like when he was doing what he was doing, he has this just, again, grandiose sense of self, this sense of entitlement that he wasn't doing anything wrong, you know? And the how could you, right? That was definitely my energy. Like when I found out, like, wow, hold on. Like this whole just, it's gut wrenching, right? But I remember, so I left him in July of 2021. And I was done. Like, there was no looking back. You know, I felt like he could have shown up at my house. I like to joke about this. I love Nita to death. But, like, I would joke, like, he could show up to my fucking house with her head on a stake and a wedding ring and a bouquet of roses, and I'd slam the door in his fucking face. You know, like, you can't lie to me. Once you lie to me, oh, I got high standards. I want something authentic. So if you lie to me, we can't create something that's authentic, right? Also, who the fuck wants to marry a liar? Wait, if you're gonna lie about some shit like this, which he just told me she was a friend, right? And if you're gonna lie about something like this, like there's no like growing from here. There's no working with anything. Like I can't say vows with you. Why the fuck am I gonna say vows with the fucking liar? Like that's ridiculous. So fast forward, I get an Akashic Records reading. I do a lot of what I thought was releasing, but was really like just suppressing. And I'm in the shower. I'm combing out my hair. I get a lot of messages. I get whatever. I am very telepathic. I can feel how people feel about me. I can feel what people think about me. I've talked about this. So I would just be combing out my hair. I'm in the shower, just doing my thing. And all of a sudden I'd be like, I told you I wasn't going to deal with this shit. Like, I told you, like, what the fuck? Like, why do you keep asking me why? Like, I fucking told you this was not going to be my story. Like, I'm not ugly. I don't have low self-esteem. I do have issues with self-love, but I don't have low self-esteem. I do feel like a worthy ass bitch. So why the fuck am I going to settle for a dude who's got one other chick that is just his friend, you guys? I thought she was the friend, and that was no fucking dice, because you don't get to be friends with somebody that you used to fuck with, who you say loves you, and y'all ain't got no fucking kids. No, it's not gonna be my story. That's dick and pussy shit. I'm not playing that shit. Like, no, it's not gonna be the dynamic. So, but then to come to find out, which I didn't find out years later, you know, she was not just a friend, and she was telling her the same shit he was telling me, blah, blah, blah. But I remember picking up on that, and he had the fucking audacity to be wondering, how could I? You said hell and high water. You said you'd never leave me. Motherfucker, you told me if she died tomorrow, if I died today, if he was like, if you die today, I won't contact her tomorrow. But then you contacted her. Like, the fuck? That's basic fucking shit with me. I don't say stuff, you know, if I'm in a relationship capacity, if I like draw a fucking line or a fucking boundary, that shit's hard. It's a hard boundary. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, I just couldn't believe that though. And so I ended up getting a reading with Glacier because I was like, why the fuck am I arguing with him? I don't even care. I don't even want to ever see this man again. Like, I don't even care why. Why am I arguing with him in the shower? And she was like, hun, he's asking you. He's cycling. Because she said, as profound as it was for you, it was 1,000 times more profound for him. And she was like, and he's like, how could, like, you know, because oh God, I left, you know, knowing he had like 50 other bitches. So anyway, all right. So now we're moving on. I think he's going to do the dragon, one of these oracle decks. Now, I didn't even anticipate this, you guys. I had no idea that this was a thing. Again, not a ton of experience with tarot, which is why, you know, another reason I wanted to share this reading, because like, yeah, it's learning, you know.
We're using the Dragon Oracle deck. Here's how this part works. So dragons exist, not physically, but they are spirits, and everyone has at least one dragon spirit guide. And with this deck, we can connect you with yours. And then after the reading, I will send you a link to this book completely free electronically. The book contains 2 pages of information about each of the spirits, how to work with them, what they do for your signs that they're with you, that kind of thing. And I urge you to work with them. Dragons are very benevolent, very powerful. Let's see what dragon spirits wish to work with you, my love. And I had just one, really? Oh. Okay. There we go. Five, including the bottom of the deck. 5 dragon spirits that are present in your life, my love, and wish to work with you. Actually make that 6.
Lush.
Okay.
For that.
We'll start with the fire dragon. The fire dragon is a dragon of protection. So this dragon will essentially keep you safe, protected, help burn up any lower energies around you. Not just that, it will also give you that fire to succeed and branch out, to be determined and inspired. And one of my favourite dragons, the earth and water dragon. So earth and water creates mud, which is the solid foundation for seeds, right? New growth. So this spirit will help you to create a new foundation for solid growth that incorporates the water, so the emotional side, the spiritual side of life, and then the earth, the physical side of life, right? So it will help you find balance and create a foundation that exudes balance. So a fresh start is coming with new opportunities, but you've got to nurture your ideas to help it grow. And that's what the Ace of Wands is about, trying new things, exploring new passions, doing what you're meant to do. Then we have the golden Christed dragon. The golden Christed dragon is another protection dragon, so it will keep you safe. But not just that, it will bring you Christ-light, and we have 2 dragons that will bring you Christ-light, which I'll explain. Christ-light is 9th dimensional energy, and it's the highest form of energy a human can hold in its aura. Kanye West even made a song about it, actually. But then again, I could talk for hours about how music is, especially in the pop culture, very spiritual, and some of it is borderline demonic. But anyway, this spirit will bring you Christ-light. It will help you heal, cleanse your aura, etc., etc. And it will help you rise to a higher vibration. Now, I knew straight away that this was probably the one that's going to resonate with you the most. We have the white gold dragon from Lyra. I wholeheartedly believe, my love, you are a Lyran starseed. Yeah. Lyran starseed. Please research that. Just Google Lyran starseed trait, see if it resonates. So this spirit will also bring you Christ light, but not just that, it will also help you connect to your causal chakra, which is the chakra above the Sahasrara. So it's about here. And it helps you connect with your soul. It helps you connect with what your genuine passions are, what you're here to do in this lifetime, basically. And we have the pure white dragon from Orion. Your energy felt familiar throughout the reading, and I was kind of trying to pinpoint why. So you can be more than one kind of starseed. A starseed is a soul that's lived lives on other planets, and then they incarnate on planets like Earth that are very corrupt and need an ascension to the planet. And you're essentially a light worker, my love. You're here to aid in the Great Awakening. And chances are you look up at the stars and you're like, oh my God, take me home. Anyway, I actually have the Orion constellation there on my arm in freckles, and that's because I'm an Orion starseed. So you could very well be an Orion starseed too. So please research Orion starseed traits and see if that resonates. Anywho, the pure white dragon from Orion essentially brings you wisdom, knowledge, and with you, my love, you've got this empathy deep within you that's kind of closed off, but you have so it's like you've got the knowledge to help people, but deep down you do have the empathy to make that knowledge applicable to other people. Do you get what I'm saying? Which is why I think you'd be such a good healer, right? Emerald Dragon. The Emerald Dragon, simply put, brings abundance. Before I started reading, I saw a rainbow. And actually, that's crazy. I'll show you. Should I show you? I'll show you. There. I don't know if you can see it. Light. And I always see rainbows as like miracles, abundance, that kind of thing. But abundance, my love, good fortune is coming, but you have to align your thoughts with it, right? But yeah, those are the dragon spirits that wish to work with you. And straight away, actually.
Okay, a lot to unpack here. So first of all, I want to say, so once I embarked on the spiritual awakening, my first one, and I read the, Dolores Cannon books, I was like, okay, everything is possible here. Like, when you're like not awake, you're like, oh, this is impossible. And, we love to say the word impossible as humans, although like we're literally living in a world full of things that at some point somebody thought would be fucking impossible, right? So I decided that I was going to believe in what I was led to, right? So obviously I have no knowledge of, in this incarnation anyway, of like dragons being a thing. But I have a choice, when presented with this information. I can choose to think he's a crackpot and, not believe it. Or I can choose to believe in this, and I can choose to believe that I have these, interdimensional or other dimensional beings that are guiding me and aiding me through my experience and through my awakenings and, through my life path. And I feel like I choose to believe things that feel good to me and that are gonna, just like elevate my energy and, give me strength along my path. So I was like, all right, I'm down with that. Like, I'll take a few dragons having my back and stuff. And I did, like, he sent me the pamphlet and I looked over them. So let's talk about the stars really quick. I've already been told I had a past life. When in my past life, my Egyptian past life, I was actually part alien and part human, which I think is funny because in this life, I mean, I'm not a hybrid that I know of, but like I'm mixed. My mother's white, my dad is black. And for some reason, I have chinky eyes. Nobody else in my family has chinky eyes, but I do know I've had a past life in Japan. And, our DNA actually carries the information of all of our past lives. And that's why, some of us will have things on us like moles. And okay, so two things. I've always been obsessed with the stars. I remember being a kid and always seeing specifically Orion's belt and feeling like it was following me around the world because I was in Hawaii, I was in Camp Pendleton, and Orion's belt is always there. Out here in a Big Bear, there's Orion's belt. I had a past life reading where I was an alien pilot, and she said that I used to like just look at like different nebulas and stuff. And one day, how when you log into your computer, like Microsoft will put a different background, just a random background. Well, one day my fucking background was a nebula in front of Orion's belt just for no reason. And when it popped up, I felt the joy of like my guides and angels fucking with me. They're like, we usually show you mountains and shit, but like now we're going to show you this just to let you know that we're with you. Like they play with technology with that. Like when I was dating the last guy, he was very much into like sports cars and fucking, fast bikes. And he was in motorsports. one day I came home and I opened up my fucking laptop and there are race cars on my fucking home screen. Like, they'll fuck with me like that. And I've not seen since that day, no other race cars ever showed up. And no other Orion's constellation nebula has showed up. The nebula is actually my background. And then on my phone, you probably can't see it this far, I actually have a picture of Orion's belt that I took myself. And I have the moles of Orion's belt on my ass. Additionally, when I'm with people, like, I find myself getting lost in their beauty marks or their moles or whatever, and they feel like stars to me, which I think is really fucking crazy. The Lyran starseed, I actually looked that up, and apparently a lot of people that lived in the Lyran constellation, they're like bird people, lion people. I've always had an affinity with animals, all animals. Like, now at this point, I know I can communicate with animals telepathically, and plants, and pretty much anything, honestly. People, like, a lot of telepathic communication. I feel like a big part of the the guy that I was seeing last or whatever, we didn't have a lot of like in-person time because he was super busy, but there was I could feel a lot of like love from him telepathically. Like, I could feel the way he felt for me, which kept me going in a way that it shouldn't have, because he wasn't presenting that to me in a physical way, which I'm going to look out for that now, guys. We're learning. All right. So this was super interesting. And then a lot of people who lived in that Lyran constellation, something had happened, and then they ended up moving into the Orion constellation. So it totally made sense to me, so far I know about basically 3 past lives in the Sirius, and I know that there are aliens from the Sirius B planet that like fuck with me, not like in a bad way, but like if I'm super stressed out, they will literally like hover over me when I'm asleep and beam like sacred geometry into my being to like help me get through things and help me on my mission. So if I could draw a painting, and I really want to do this one day, but I want to do a painting of like me walking, just little old human me, and then behind me and above me it's just this conglomerate of all these different like spirits and angels and dragons. And I know I have a bear spirit guide that watches out for me here in Big Bear. Like, y'all, I walk around by my fucking self and I feel so goddamn safe. People be like, oh my God, you're a single woman, don't you feel scared? Nope. Nobody's gonna fuck with me. And that is such a just like intrinsic thing that I just know and believe. I'm not worried about animals, and I think it's because I have that bear spirit guide. The animals can sense those guides, and they're just gonna go the other way. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they're gonna come and he's gonna like scare them. It's just like, it's an energy thing, you guys. Everything with the spiritual realm, it's extremely subtle. It's very subtle. So yeah, this really fucking blew me away. This was such an amazing reading, and I'm so grateful for his energy and just like connecting with him. Like, I've made so many shifts based on this reading. And it's funny, like, I like to connect with people and talk. And so I was really bummed out when I found out that the reading was going to be like this. He's just going to send me a recording. But it's actually good because I talk a lot, as you guys may have picked up. And I would have interrupted him and I would have conjecture and stuff. So just getting the messages, like, he's just purely, because he's clearly a medium, right? Like, he's not just, I don't know, I guess I thought with tarot, everyone has esoteric abilities, whether they know it or not. We all have intuition. We all have connection to source. Like, we all have a soul. It's just how it works. Whether we're an atheist, we don't believe in that shit or not, we all have a connection. And so I just love the way he's utilizing his connection and just like giving some badass information. Like, this reading really blew me away. I feel like he's going to go into, there's other things here. I can't remember. But it was more good stuff. But I don't think I'm going to do an episode on the remainder of it because it's 17 minutes left and it's all just not tarot. And this is supposed to be about tarot. And I think those are whatever. We're just going to leave it here. I do encourage you, if you feel called to get a reading with him, you absolutely should. It's worth every penny. If this is coming up into your experience, there's obviously a reason. I'm sure some of this is going to resonate with you. Otherwise, your guides and angels wouldn't have led you here. Let me see. See if I can get his information really quick. So on Instagram, and I will link this in the show notes. At least I'll try to remember to do that. I be saying stuff and then I completely forget. But I'll try to give you the link because you book a reading from him through his Instagram. And his Instagram handle is WTWB47. And this is perfect timing because I'm running out of juice. Thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Happy to be of service and just passing notes in class. Have a great night, y'all. Wrong button.